Joining me now to discuss discuss everything about Britain's political turmoil is Robin Niblett. He is director and chief executive of Chatham House, and it is good to see you on what has been, for sure, a busy week in British politics. Okay, let's start with the candidates. First, Rishi Sunak. I mean, already ambition on display. They clearly believe they have an opportunity here. I'm wondering, though, given the divisions in the Conservative Party itself, still quite divided, given when you had Brexiteers and the Remainers, still a lot of a populist wing in that party, perhaps vying for something different. What do you make of it?
Well, I think you're always going to go right now for the contrast with Boris Johnson. So now that Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, has been cleared of his own potential scandal during the lockdown kind of parties that took place, so we know that the opposition leader will remain Keir Starmer. The question of who's going to be the most competent person who will be able to go up against him and out-competence him. And this is part of what Rishi Sunak is doing. He was a very sure-footed chancellor during the COVID pandemic. And he's a loyal Brexiteer, and he was loyal to the Prime Minister for a long time, until the very, very last minute, obviously. So I think, he reckons he's got a shot. I think he thinks if he doesn't throw his hat in the ring, in a way he's giving up his future political career. The one risk he has is that he is married to a very wealthy woman. And there was a bit of a scandal, you might say, about her not paying UK taxes, and a reminder that he comes from a very wealthy banking background. And that may not have, therefore, the popular touch which might be needed to win the next election and keep all those Boris voters, the kind of men and women of the street, on side.
And it is the popular touch that seems to be missing in Britain in terms of who's going to take over, not just as the leader of the Conservative Party, but as Prime Minister, right? I mean, one of the reasons that so many people in the Conservative Party are anxious to get in this race is they all believe they can beat Keir Starmer and Labour. Why has Labour not made more of what's been going on here? Why have they not been able to capitalize more?
Well, simply because the Labour Party is still coming out of a sort of near-death experience with the last election. An 80-seat majority, letting the Conservatives win their largest share of the vote in about 40 years. The spectre of Jeremy Corbyn, the far-left candidate and former candidate for Prime Minister, is something they're still overcoming. The Labour Party is still a divided party, and therefore this crimps the style, really, of Keir Starmer and his ability to really go after the Conservative Party itself right now. So Labour is still sort of rebuilding itself at the moment, and Keir Starmer is always worrying that he has to look over his shoulder at the left wing of his party.
We've just spoken for a few minutes about Britain's political future. There is that political past, though, and it has to do with Boris Johnson. When he's actually going to leave 10 Downing Street, I almost feel as if this isn't just burnishing the legacy, that somehow he thinks he might actually remain in office. I mean, do you think that the Conservative Party will manage to get him out in the next few days as opposed to the fall?
I think it's now looking unlikely that it'll be out over the next few days. I mean, we are going into summer, and as much as Boris Johnson has been the kind of sun around which the Conservative Party has rotated, if chaotically, we are going to move into all of the speculation and the focus of a leadership election. And that will suck some of the oxygen away from Boris Johnson. Plus, it's August. It's a kind of quieter time. He can't stand, once you resign as a party leader under the party rules, he can't suddenly try to sneak himself back into the running. And I think really at the moment, the limelight will move away from him as we get into the real knockdown, drag out of this party. You're going to have potentially over 10 candidates running for it. So it's going to become a real introduction to other characters. And I think Boris in that way will slip away a bit.
I only have 30 seconds left, but we've talked a lot about British politics. We should, spare a moment for the beleaguered British voter and that person at the local Tesco or Sainsbury right now. What have they made of the last few days?
Well, I think the Conservative Party are going to pay a price for this at the next election. They are focused on massively high inflation, over 10% here in the United Kingdom, rising interest rates, a lot of people on flexible mortgages in the UK. We don't get those long-term mortgages you get in the United States. and really worried that this party is in an internecine battle when they should be worrying about the future of the man and woman in the street. So no, I think they're going to pay a price. They are exhausted. At the same time, I think Boris was a pretty wild ride, and they're looking for a little bit more stability.
Some calm. I think they'd all appreciate some calm. And I wish you a calm and quiet and enjoyable weekend. Thanks so much for weighing in for us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paula. Thank you.